Welcome back to the Deliberate Exchange. My name is Chelsea. If you are just tuning into your first episode here, I'm so grateful that you found your way here. And if you are listening again to this new episode and you've been listening to all the others, I'm so grateful for you. Okay, so this this has been kind of kicking around in my mind because it's a reality that I face, and it doesn't bother me as much as it used to be. So the context, of course, is that loneliness and certainly FOMO, fear of missing out, used to crush me. Like, I hated being alone. It brought up abandonment wounds and stories that I carried that I wasn't good enough to hang out with, that if I didn't get the invite, it must mean something was wrong with me. And if I did get an invite, I would try and figure out why, or maybe kind of surmise it that I was a B or a C list invite. And honestly, being alone was unbearable because the silence made the thoughts and emotions too loud. So I avoided it. I would toddle down to the local pub or sit at my favorite Joey's restaurant because, of course, I was a regular, and I would chit chat with the staff, and I would secretly hope that somebody else, another patron, another customer, would strike up a conversation with me. And looking back, when I imagine myself sitting at those bars alone, I see it for what it was. I was desperate. And if I didn't go up to the bar, I would drink at home. Because that empty house reminded me of the reality that I had created. I asked for the divorce to be free, but suddenly I felt like a prisoner in my own space. And then one glass turned into another and into another. You know how that story goes. And so that was the version of me who outsourced all of her needs. It was somebody else's job to entertain me, somebody else's job to make me happy, somebody else's job to make me feel worthy, to make me feel connected. And that was like pouring water into a bucket with a hole. It always leaked out. And I didn't have the tools to process anything. I didn't know how to deal with the grief or the stress or the trauma. It all felt unsafe to touch, and so I avoided it. Head in the sand, ostrich style. Back then, being alone was an identity I ran from. And now, alone time is something I really look forward to. It's where I breathe and restore and reconnect with myself. And the difference between then and now really comes down to that I know about chronic stress, and I know about the nervous system, and I know how it shapes our behavior and our reactions and our standards and expectations and values and all it shapes a lot. What I know now is that when your nervous system is in a chronic stress response, being alone doesn't feel safe. If you're stuck in fight, you're restless and irritable, always seeking the next thing to push against. If you're stuck in a flight response, you will fill your schedule running from place to place to place, always on the go. And maybe you roll your eyes that your kid has so many hockey practices or whatever that is, but secretly you need that because you don't want to stop. Or maybe you're in freeze, where silence is suffocating, so you numb with TV or scrolling or food or booze. And in fawn, you'll do anything to keep others around and especially keep them happy so you don't have to feel the discomfort of your own emotions. So when we talk about busyness and being out all the time, sometimes it's not a lifestyle choice, it's a survival strategy. The body is screaming do not slow down, do not stop, do not let these feelings catch up. We do not know what to do with them, so we cannot do that. That is what your body is saying. Of course, the problem with that is that the feelings don't go away. They are stored in the body, and they end up weighing way more the longer that you run from them. And this is where alcohol really snuck in, especially for me. Drinking ended up being the bridge between I can't sit still, I need to turn my mind off, I don't want to think about these things, I don't want to feel these things. But the relief was temporary. always, always, always temporary. And the stress and emotions always came back way stronger the next morning. And so if you recognize yourself in this, if your calendar is always full, if being alone feels unbearable, that you pour yourself another glass or bottle of wine, if you're pouring it because the silence is too much, I want you to know that, of course, like, this isn't a character flaw. Your nervous system is trying to protect you. The only way that it knew or knows how to do, how it learned to do. The shift for me happened slowly. It wasn't like one day I just started to love being alone, but it definitely started when I learned that home was always within me, that it's actually safe to feel even the hard stuff, and that I could create safety in my body, and that safety would let me or give me the opportunity to process grief, stress, trauma, instead of running from it. And that there are tools like breath work and nervous system regulation, journaling, that move you out of desperation, depression, anxiety without alcohol. And once I started practicing those things consistently, something really, really great happened. Loneliness stopped being my identity. It became an opportunity to sit with discomfort, to get to know myself again, to reconnect with the woman that I had put on the back burner for so long. And so now the quiet doesn't scare me. It actually restores me. Now, if you are listening to this and wondering, like, okay, fine, but how do I actually start feeling safe being alone? And here is where I would recommend you begin. So the first thing is just check your story. Ask yourself a simple question. Why am I filling this space? Is it because I genuinely want connection and joy, or because I'm escaping silence? Really important with this is to not add any shame. It's just curiosity, no judgment. And two, start with small doses. Instead of a whole night alone, start with 5 or 10 minutes of quiet. Sit, breathe, and notice what comes up. Build that capacity little by little. And like when you do that, like I have a couple clients who've been sitting with stillness, like as part of the practice of us working together. And once you get over that initial discomfort when you're fidgeting and you're like wondering what to do, it typically passes. The third is to bring in regulation tools, breath work, grounding, movement, anything that can signal safety to your nervous system. For me, breath work and cold plunging was a massive bridge, especially in the early days. It helped me release the energy that would otherwise spiral into anxiety and old habits. The fourth thing that I would really recommend you do or consider is reframe what alone is for you. Instead of seeing it as isolation, frame it as coming home. Like, this isn't punishment, it's the place where you reconnect with yourself. And so a few things that like you can maybe journal on or voice note on is, if you were to stop and think, like, what do you believe will happen if you stop being busy? And what are you afraid of to feel if you do sit in silence? And lastly, like, what is there to discover about yourself if you let the quiet be a teacher? And also, like, if you're sitting here listening to this and you have kids, because I do recognize my position in life. I understand that I don't have kids that are at my side all the time, but I think it's really important in what I see in the women that I work with is reclaiming the identity of yourself as you without the label of mom, without the label of daughter, mother, sister, wife, whatever that looks like. And deliberately creating time in your schedule for alone time. And if that sounds like something you want to do, then absolutely go through those 4 steps. I think like the biggest takeaway that I want you to have here is that wanting to be social, wanting to be out, wanting to fill your life with people, that isn't what's wrong here. The question is why? It's the intention. Once again, if you're running towards joy and connection, that is life giving. But if you are running away from your own emotions, that weight only grows heavier. And the good news is you can repattern this. You can teach your nervous system that it's safe to slow down, it's safe to feel, it's safe to process, and you can learn how to process the big, heavy, scary emotions that you don't know what the fuck to do with. I learned, and now it's an opportunity every time I met with like that pang of like, oh, I don't want to feel this, but relief that I know how to do it. And when you find safety in those things, solitude stops being the scariest place in the world and starts becoming sacred. It becomes home. And so maybe as you move throughout your week, maybe you can think of this reminder that home is always within you. If this episode has resonated, share it with a friend who might need that reminder too. And if you're ready to go deeper, this is the work that I guide women through every single day. Nervous system healing, managing and navigating stress like in real move the needle type ways, breath work, and absolutely reclaiming your self-trust. And especially through the lens of if you have quit drinking or you're moving on from big life events or burnout or anything like that. And I'll link a whole bunch of stuff in the show notes so you can take a look. Until next time, I want you to remember, it's safe to slow down, it's safe to feel, and it's safe to come home to you. And so breathe it in, be deliberate, and please be good to yourself.